Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to our broadcast for the Warriors of Light. We're coming to you today from the Temple of Light at Ananda Village. Let's start with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, Beloved God, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar, Beloved Guru, Paramahansa Yogananda, saints of all religions, we bow at your feet. Divine Mother, help us to live in ever greater awareness of your presence in our lives, of your love and joy, of your guiding hand behind everything that comes to us. Help us to see everyone who comes in our contact as being a soul, as being bathed in your light. Help us to be channels of light, no matter what comes to us, to always see the highest, to always spread light into this world. Be with us. Om, peace. Amen. Welcome everyone. My name is Atman. This is Bhaktimarg. It's our pleasure to share with you today. As we're speaking of warriors of light, what I wanted to speak about today was the greatest example of a warrior of light that I know of in my life, and that was Swami Kriyananda. He lived his life completely in service to his God, Guru, and always trying to bring light into this world. No matter what he was doing, where he was always a channel for that light. It was just who he was, his consciousness. No matter what came to him personally, he came many, many trials in his life. Much tapasya to found Ananda. Swami Kriyananda is the founder of the Ananda Sangha, Ananda movement worldwide. He was always looking, what could he do to serve? How could he bring light into this world? How could he further the mission of God and his Guru? He had a tremendously positive outlook to the point where people would say, Swami, you're being a little naive. He would say, I think this book is going to be a bestseller. I think this book is going to change the way some of my enemies look at me. And people would say, really, Swami? And he would say, at one time somebody actually confronted him on this, and he said, I just really can't afford to think in any other way except a positive way. It wasn't so much that he was focused on what was in front of him. Perhaps there was some darkness in that point. He was always looking towards the true reality being light, being oneness, being unity, being God's world. And that's where he was always putting his attitude. In his interactions with other people, he was always kind, loving, compassionate to those who looked to him as a teacher, of course, but then even to those who he didn't know. He would go out of his way to try to bring light to someone who was downcast. There was a time he was staying in a hotel, and he went past a shop in the hotel. He saw a woman there who was obviously having a little bit of a difficult time. He said, let's go in and be with that woman. He spent, a lot of time with her, trying to look at what she had, trying to see what he could buy, how he could cheer her up. But basically, he was just transmitting his consciousness to her. And when he left, she was in tears. She knew that she had been touched. She wasn't a devotee. She wasn't looking toward God realization, but she knew that she had been touched. And when, in more outward circumstances, he certainly went through many, many trials in his life. It wasn't easy founding Ananda. He said there was tremendous tapasya, tremendous willpower that was needed. But he was always looking, how can I put out more energy? How can I further light into this world? For example, after the fire, we had a wildfire here at Ananda Village in 1976. We lost most of the houses here. It was a time of great testing and trial for the community. And one could easily see, okay, let's focus on inward and what's going on here. Let's see if we can rebuild. What did Swamiji do? No, he said, no, now is the time to focus outward, because by bringing light into this world, we'll bring light into our lives as well. So he went on a joy tours, 3 of them around the country, doing lectures, sharing his music, sharing his vibration of Ananda. There was another time during the time of legal challenge. He'd been hit with a number of lawsuits, of tremendously adharmic attacks on Ananda. And it would have been easy to turn inward in this. But what did Swamiji do? He wrote a book called Do It Now. And in this book, there's 366 sayings of how to expand your consciousness, how to move out into the world, how to bring light. And he didn't try to sell this book. He said, no, we're going to give this book away. So he printed thousands of copies and had people give them away. It was just a way, not getting into the darkness of what was happening in the legal front, but just to put light out into the world, to continue to send that out there. When there was an earthquake in Italy, it was hard for people there. He couldn't go there and do physical work and help people. But what he said to us, I can put light out into the world. And he organized a series of concerts, a series of benefits, and donated that money to the work in Italy. But it was more the consciousness of expanding that light out into the world that he was focused on, rather than the individual things that we could do. He was always his music. He was always trying to put his music out there, because the music can change consciousness. It can uplift people. And he composed wonderful, beautiful music and was always putting out there, even to the point of he made a tape that he thought people could, that the hotel wake-up systems could work. He said, if people could play this during the wake-up time, this would uplift their consciousness. And so he published this little compilation of his songs that he could put out that way. So it's a tremendous example for us to think, what can we do? In what little ways to touch people, in our attitudes towards our own life, in the way we can put out energy into the world in a larger way, not focusing on the darkness, but focusing on putting out the light. So now I'd like to take a moment for meditation, a little bit of inward contemplation. And while we're doing this, while we're meditating, we're going to play a song sung by Swami Kriyananda. The song is I Live Without Fear. This is a tremendous song to listen to during these times as for guiding inspiration for all our warriors of light. Swamiji composed this song after a detractor of his had spent several hours telling him everything that he was doing wrong, everything that was wrong with Ananda, why he was not doing a good job. And Swami just listened politely, and then right after that time, this song came to him. So let's think of our teacher, our guide, or even if you don't know him, just tune into this consciousness of a tremendous warrior of light, Swami Kriyananda, and listen to this music. And as much as the words, listen to the vibration of the music as well.
The green summer fade and winter draw near. My Lord, in your presence I live without fear. Through tempest, through snows, through turbulent tide, the touch of your hand is my strength and my guide. I ask for no riches that death can destroy. I crave only thee, your love and your joy. I ask for no riches that death can destroy. I crave only thee, your love and your joy. The dancers will pass, the singing must end. I welcome the darkness with you for my friend. The green summer fade and winter draw near. My Lord, in your presence I live without fear. Through tempest, through snows, through turbulent tide, the touch of your hand is my strength and my guide. I ask for no riches that death can destroy. I crave only thee, your love and your joy. I ask for no riches that death can destroy. I crave only thee, your love and your joy. The dancers will pass, the singing must end. I welcome the darkness with you for my friend.
And now, let's focus on Babaji before we do this affirmation of the Warriors of Light. And remember those words that Babaji told us. He is not able to remove the suffering from this world, but he's able to bring light. So let's take a moment now, and I'll invite you to close your eyes and focus on Babaji, and feel that light, that divine light that is bathing the whole earth. Every nook, every part of the earth, bringing light and dissolving all darkness. And let that light of the divine, of the Babaji, bathe the consciousness of all creatures in this earth. Feel how that the bright, divine light is just dissolving all darkness. And the power of Babaji filling the whole earth and all its creatures with the divine light. And now let's pray to Babaji with an open heart that fills us with that divine light to become a warrior of light for God and Guru. And I invite you to say this affirmation. God's light is within me and around me. With the sword of faith in my hand, with the love of God in my heart, I'm a warrior of light. I join my brothers and sisters everywhere to overcome fear with faith, hatred with love, and disease with health. We're all warriors of light. We fill the world with God's light. And now in a normal voice, but feeling that light that is coming from Babaji, feeling yourself and spreading that light all around you. God's light is within me and around me. With the sword of faith in my hand, with the love of God in my heart, I'm a warrior of light. I join my brothers and sisters everywhere to overcome fear with faith, hatred with love, and disease with health. We all are warriors of light. We fill the world with God's light. And now whispering, God's light is within me and around me, with the sword of faith in my hand, with the love of God in my heart. I'm a warrior of light. I join my brothers and sisters everywhere to overcome fear with faith, hatred with love, and disease with health. We're all warriors of light. We fill the world with God's light. And now mentally, God's light is within me and around me, with the sword of faith in my hand, with the love of God in my heart. I'm a warrior of light. I join my brothers and sisters everywhere to overcome fear with faith, hatred with love, and disease with health. We all are warriors of light. We fill the world with God's light. And feel that light within you. And then we're going to spread that light, rubbing our hands, bringing the divine light, that Babaji's light, opening our arms, and send that light out. Peace. Amen. Be a word of light for everyone with Dharma and with joy. Blessings.